There is nothing more omnipresent in Utena than the elevator. However, the elevator doesn't make its appearance in Utena until Season 2, the Black Rose arc. For the entirety of the first season, Utena walks up spiraling stairs. The elevator appears first not in the dueling arena, but as Anthy brings Utena to meet her brother, since, after all, those two elevators are one and the same. Then, the elevator makes its second appearance in Nemuro Memorial Hall. There it goes down into the depths where the coffins and the flames and the corpses are, where the ghosts live. Only then do we see the elevator that Utena and Anthy step into as the duel song begins. We see, but we do not understand. For the boys of Otori Academy, their future is a staircase pointing towards adulthood. First, they will be like Suwabuki, envious of the maturity of teens, looking forward to grasping that hint of power, that belief that Toga and even Saionji managed to hold on to. He wants to be Nanami's older brother in the way that Otori presents older brothers. All forgiving, all protecting, all encompassing. Saionji, too, looks towards Toga, but his admiration has already warped itself into painful yearning. Why is Toga above him, more worldly than him, more powerful than him? In order to attain Toga's friendship, Saionji has to rush up that stairway, push down anyone between him and Toga. But he will never catch up, because the person pushing him back down is Toga himself. There is no friendship where Toga is going. There's no room for Saionji in the future Toga sees. There's no room for anyone but him. No room for anyone but him and a princess. We'll get back to that. Where is Toga going, though? The stairs only go to one place, Akio's realm. They go to the observatory, the couch, the castle in the sky. And what is Akio going to do to Toga when he gets there? He is going to harm him. He has harmed him, and he will harm him. But Toga admires Akio, idolizes him. Not the way Utena idolizes and admires him, though. She compliments him on his care for his sister, his way of seeing into the heart of problems, looking at the whole of them from his view at the top. Toga compliments him for his skill at lying, the way that he concealed the manipulation of the duel from all the duelists except for Toga, the way that he so easily seduces women and discards them, the way that his sister is just like Nanami, but better. To say he wants to be Akio is wrong. In his own head, he is the usurper of Akio's throne, Akio's possessions, though he's never demonstrated much desire for Anthy. Again, we will return to this. That's what's at the top of the stairs, but what does Toga think is at the top of the stairs? Miki is chasing his shining garden, Saionji his tender equality. Toga's duel is centered around Utena. He wants something from her specifically, not the Rose Bride, but Utena Tenjo, the girl who decided to become a prince. There is a concept in Otori that all girls are princesses and all princesses are interchangeable. In the Black Rose duels, Shiori acts as a prince, but in the Apocalypse duels, Shiori dresses as a princess. Kozue does this too. Nanami never wears one. Even in the Apocalypse duel, she fights with her brother. So what? Beneath the YouTube comment section of the sub-episode of Toga and Saionji's final duel. A commenter says, "Wouldn't it be funny if Saionji was in a Rose Bride dress for this match?" It would be funny. But androgyny only goes one way in Otori, and being a princess is the exact opposite of what Saionji wants. Remember, his goal is to be Toga's equal. Utena doesn't care about being Toga's equal, though. She takes that as a given. Except when she thinks he's her prince. If he's her prince, is he not her ideal made flesh? How can she be equal to that? None of this addresses what Toga wants, so let's get to that. I've mentioned in other videos that by pursuing Utena, Toga is crushing the very thing that made him want her. By offering her feminine items, he's attempting to erase her princely uniqueness, putting her in a place of weakness in comparison to him. Here's the thing. Toga ends the series having caused his sister to permanently distance herself from him. She may forgive him, but she will never trust him again. His only other close relationship was with Akio. All the while he watched Akio slowly isolate Utena and drag her closer and closer into his confidence, he said to himself, "How admirable, how enviable. If only I were the one whose lies she believed. If only I was older, wiser, more princely." Toga spent every minute craning his neck to look at Akio. If only he had turned his gaze a little higher, he would have seen the birdcage over his own head. The thread that ties all the boys in Revolutionary Girl Utena together is the destruction of the things they love. At the end of Mickey's first duel, Kozue reveals that she does, in fact, still play the piano, just not where Mickey can hear her. "He makes such a fuss," she says. Throughout the entire series, Mickey and Kozue never once play a duet. To be exact, the main thing presenting the duet is the fact that Mickey wants it so badly. That his expectations are so high that Kozue would rather do anything in the world except play for him. He remembers wrongly, Kozue explains. "I was never that good, and I will never be that good." His memory of having an equal partner was wrong from the start. His delusion of Anthe as an equal partner follows similar pitfalls. How can the Rose Bride be equal? But most importantly, he will never even get the chance to learn this because Kozue does not trust him. She doesn't trust that he will believe her if she tells him. She doesn't expect that he will understand because she sees him as more naive to the world than her. He's not mature enough to get it. Is this destruction? I've heard plenty of interpretations of Kozue's flirtatious nature versus Mickey's blushing innocence. But to me, the most important part is this. It's not that she chose to have her eyes open to the world, but that she was denied the privilege of looking away. She can't misremember her childhood as happier than it was, can't misjudge their relationship as equals, and she hates that Mickey can. She envies him with all of her cold heart. Saionji has two major character relationship moments, his ones with Toga and his ones with Wakaba. 3 if you count his relationship with Anthe. Anthe doesn't count those though. Wakaba kicks off the entire series of Utena when she sends Saionji a poem she wrote imagining them dancing together. The narrative start, the most special moment, and it was all used as fodder to make Utena join the duelists. She duels for Wakaba's honor, but I'd actually forgotten that until I rewatched the series. That episode ends with her and Anthe, not her and Wakaba. So let's talk about an episode that ends with Wakaba. Wakaba is the only girl in the series to have more than one prince. Technically, she has 3. her childhood onion prince, her crush on Saionji, and her relationship with Utena. From a distance, she even admires Akio. "I'd go for a ride in a car with him, Utena," she teases. "What are you so afraid of?" The stage of the rose seal reveals all. All girls are princesses, but there is only one prince. Utena never mistakes Saionji for her prince, not for a second. So Wakaba is the only chance he has to ascend that stairway, to take that image for his own. Is that what he wants? Saionji doesn't even understand that princehood is Toga's goal. It is alien to him, foreign to him. What is the next step ahead to someone whose only goal has ever been catch-up? Saionji is doomed forever due to his lack of understanding of the people around him. He desires to be loved, to have trusted friends, and to have people who like him and treat him with respect. He has none of this. Toga thinks his wants are in themselves shameful. Anthy thinks that his wants are impossible. And Utena thinks that someone who wants so many things that they don't realize must be reciprocated is just a little, well, stupid. He's easily manipulated and never learns. Even at the very end, it's not him that reaches Toga. It's Toga who looks back, looks down. A false equivalence. There's one more person climbing the stairs to princehood. Utena is everything Saionji is not. Driven to climb past Toga, past everyone. As a young girl, she decided to become a prince, and that's what she's going to do. But she gets confused. She wants to be a prince, but she wants to date a prince? Is that right? Is that right? This confusion becomes especially blatant when Akio is present. In the previous video, I mentioned that Saionji will occasionally show feminine traits, wearing an apron, cooking, keeping house while Wakaba is away. Akio leans into androgyny as well, when it suits him. He bakes Utena a cake. He makes sure to tell her that unlike Toga, he likes her choice to wear the boy's uniform. He respects it. He has Toga pick out a gift for her. This is an interesting one. Toga tells Akio that Utena doesn't like feminine gifts, then goes out and buys her earrings. The way that I understood it is like this. Toga is attempting to prove that he and Akio are alike. She didn't like the gifts he bought her, and she won't like the gifts he buys her that are from Akio. After all, the only difference between the gifts is who the theoretical sender is. Utena never even knows Toga also bought the earrings. But she does like the earrings. She wears them, she shows them off to Anthy, she falls asleep looking at them. And why? Because they are from Akio. It is one of the most awful moments of the entire series, because Akio has managed, in one move, to cause so much pain. He's proven himself superior to Toga. He's proven that Utena will choose him over androgyny, her preferred style of dress. And, most importantly, he is proving to Anthy that this cycle is just like every other cycle. Utena is not her prince. Her agony will not end. In the fairy tale story that Utena remembers from her childhood, Anthy is completely gone. She was a little girl in a graveyard, and she met a handsome prince who gave her a ring and told her that they might one day meet again if she was brave and noble. And then the confusion happens. That little girl decided to become a prince herself. But was that such a good idea? Whether it was a good idea or not, Utena doesn't actually remember why she decided she wanted to be a prince. It's not a part of her story. But we know. The Shadow Girls know. When she was a young girl in a graveyard, a young prince came to her and showed her something eternal. Showed her Anthe. And she begged him to save Anthe, and he said he couldn't. And she said, "I'll save her." So Dios gave her the ring. Utena's ideal of a prince is someone who saves princesses, someone capable of saving Anthe. That's what she's reaching for in the castle in the sky. But Anthe isn't a princess, is she? Anthe is a ghost within the Rose Bride. Nothing inside the dress, roses inside the school clothes, poison in the cookies. There's two problems here. One, a prince cannot save Anthe because she's not a princess. Two, it doesn't seem like any prince within Otori is doing any saving at all. Math question. If only princes can save princesses, and all girls are princesses, but no prince is saving princesses, then who's saving the girls? No one, it seems. Let's turn our gaze back to the Rose Seal Theater. There once was a prince who saved all the girls in the world, is that story. But the Shadow Girls show it like this. First, he saved them from kaiju-esque monsters. Then, he saved them from being lonely when they wanted to go out to dinner. How noble. In Akio's mind, a prince is someone who saves girls from loneliness. By, of course, sleeping with them. If they can never be whole without a prince, and of course a princess cannot be whole without a prince, and he is the only prince in the world. The opposite of saying this is that Akio opposes anyone capable of being fulfilled without him. Much earlier, I pointed out that Toga isn't interested in the Rose Bride. This is something he has in common with only one other duelist, Juri. Saionji is only interested in Anthe as a status symbol in order to get him closer to Toga. But Toga doesn't see Anthe as a way into anything. The second he learned about her brother, he refocused everything in that direction. The way to gain power is through Akio, not Anthe, he surmises. Juri also doesn't want the Rose Bride. This is because Juri sees Anthe as a human being, and really specifically because she hates the fact that Otori will allow her the illusion of being able to marry the Rose Bride when she is, in actuality, unable to ever be in a relationship with the girl she's interested in. I have left a prince out of my sweeping illusion of boys climbing the stairs. Specifically, I've left out Mikage. This is for a couple of reasons. One, Mikage isn't climbing anywhere. He's sinking. The only elevator he's in goes one way, and that's down. Two, because Mikage has pride of place of being both Utena's shadow self and, naturally, a very explicitly gay romance with his own shadowy Rose Bride. Mikage remembers himself as a noble sacrifice, someone who took the hit to his own reputation in order to let the boy he loved. Was it the boy he loved, or the sister? In order to let the boy he loved not take the blame for the fire that ended Nemuro Hall that killed 100 people. The Black Rose duelists are consumed with bitter jealousy. They writhe with envy. They fight with rage. But who was Mikage jealous of? Who did he blame for his own unhappiness? What is the root of his despair? What will killing the Rose Bride do for him? Which one was he in love with? The brother or the sister? Mikage loses his duel when he realizes that he was living in an enchanted lie. Anthy had stepped into the shoes of the dead brother. It's impossible for anyone except for Anthy to be the Rose Bride. Why not a rose groom? Utena asks Akio what he thought of the play. It's what I'd expect from students of Otori, he says. This could be positive. He's the acting chairman of the academy, speaking of how the academy that he's claimed to be the best in the world produces good work. It could be negative, shoddy work, as expected from students. Or, as with most parts of Utena, one could take it as the cold agreement with the faulty fairy tale Otori is built on, perpetuating the cruel myth, blaming the witch, as expected from students of Otori. To conceive of the rose groom, to put a boy in the princess gown that Kozue and Shiori get to wear, it's impossible for students of Otori. It's impossible for even the one who thinks of himself as above all the other students at Otori. It's impossible for Toga. To be envious of Utena would be a sickening pill to swallow for him more than anyone. It would force him to acknowledge that he's not even going to be happy within the world of his own revolution. If he changes everything but he doesn't change the Rose Bride system, then he's never going to want the Rose Bride. But the Rose Bride system is what keeps the princes in power over Otori. He can't both have power and have what he thinks exercising that power will give him. I called for Akio to leave this coffin in a previous video, but Akio isn't in the coffin. He is the coffin, the rot and the wood and the flowers. He's all of it. A prince is someone who exercises power, and a princess is someone who cannot. After Toga loses his duel to Utena, he becomes completely unresponsive for weeks, possibly months. He sits on his chair and he stares blankly. Nanami takes over his duties in his stead. A black rose duelist rips his sword out of his chest. Her name, though it's never been said before this episode or spoken of after this episode, is Keiko. Why did she do that? She loves Toga. She doesn't hate him, wasn't betrayed by him, isn't resentful of him. All of her issues are with Nanami. But it's not Nanami's swords that she's wielding. Something I've previously left unaddressed in this series is the fact that all Black Rose duelists dress as princes. This is natural, of course, as they are taking on the roles of duelists, and all duelists also dress as princes. But what's important here is the implication of desire. The role of a prince is to exercise power. The goal of a Black Rose duelist is to kill the Rose Bride. So the chaos remains in Keiko's heart. She wants what she thinks Nanami has. She wants to be Toga's princess. But it's impossible for a princess to take what she wants. And in taking it from Toga when he is cold, vulnerable, and unresponsive, she can only assume his role. You could say that from the minute she put the ring on her finger, she was doomed. Androgyny within Otori is heavily entwined with longing for power, where the boy's clothes to be more like a boy, to be more like a man, to be more like a prince. But Utena wears the boy's uniform just because it feels right. It's enough to make a man sick with envy. Hi, I'm Czar, and this is my channel for talking about anime, animation, and storytelling devices. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See ya!